TMO, is a transformative force in both entrepreneurship and media, with over 20 years of experience driving societal change. A passionate advocate for good governance and social impact, she blends her entrepreneurial expertise with a commitment to empowering individuals and communities. For over 12 years, TMO has been a key presence on Nigeria's premier breakfast show, Your View, where her insightful discussions on nation building and her candid interviews with leaders have earned her widespread recognition. As the CEO of REB 360, TMO leads a real estate company focused on wealth creation and financial empowerment. Through REB 360, she has made significant strides in democratizing investment opportunities, ensuring that individuals from all walks of life can access the tools they need to build sustainable wealth. Additionally, she founded Wire Africa, Women in Real Estate, Africa, an NGO that empowers African women to participate in the real estate sector and achieve financial independence. TMO's entrepreneurial journey also includes a wealth of experience in consulting for corporate organizations, nonprofits, and government agencies, developing innovative solutions to unemployment, behavioral transformation, and societal growth. With certifications in life coaching and neuro-linguistic programming, NLP, she is a sought-after wealth and investment coach, offering strategies for both personal and financial growth. TMO's mission is clear: to inspire growth, foster empowerment, and drive positive societal change through innovative solutions and actionable strategies. As a wife and mother of three, she balances her professional achievements with a deep commitment to her family and community. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming Mrs. Tape Mark Odeji, TMO, to Real Estate Today.
All right, TMO, it's over to you. Thank you. You're welcome. It's good to see you.
Thank you so much for having me. Apologies for mixing up the time and logistical challenges that made it difficult for me to come in here on time. Thank you all for being here. Thank you for the invite. I'm truly grateful for the honor of being able to share from my experience, especially regarding the topic, which is a topic I've dealt with personally. I've really dealt with it personally, and I do have a lot to say on the topic because it's a topic that can accelerate growth and it can also kill a business. It can diminish, and negatively, it has impacted the real estate industry because it was the means by which many people raised funds. But now we're seeing that it led to major crisis for many people. And that's why I feel very honored to talk about this. I remember that this conversation started when I was speaking at a legal conference where I had to share on my experience with raising funds, on structured fundraising, and so I am of strong belief that when we don't address these things and educate ourselves, we get into a problem that others have experienced. We make mistakes that others have already made, because the typical way in our world is when people make mistakes, they don't talk about their mistakes, they talk about their wins and celebrate their high points, as opposed to us honestly knowing that you learn more from failure than from successes. So really, I'm very grateful to be here. I'm wondering what format, because I know I'm a panelist here. Are you going to ask me questions and then I'll answer those questions, because that's like what I'm prepared for.
Okay, so I was expecting that probably you just, there are questions that we're going to be talking about, but if you want to let us into just a general overview of what crowdfunding, the experiences in the market with the issue of raising funds for real estate development and the likes, then we can begin to go down into, really, of course, the questions, and of course, people now begin to also ask. I have some talking points here in terms of questions, but if you want to run us through, yes, a few of your experiences with regards to crowdfunding in terms of real estate and things you've done and your experiences from the market.
Okay. All right, fantastic. Thank you so much. So I'm a real estate developer, and when I was starting my business. And this is me just telling you my story of crowdfunding and the opportunities and challenges I've faced in the journey of crowdfunding. I was starting my business like many Nigerians. We started with zero capital, with the sheer will and passion that many Nigerians have. Many Nigerian entrepreneurs start their business purely with will, sheer will that I am going to make it. I'm going to make it work. Resilience, big dreams and vision. And that was how I started my real estate journey. And because of the way our real estate structure is in Nigeria, there is no way that you are going to thrive in real estate without capital. And the template I saw, which is why I said I'm grateful for this platform, because the template I saw was a template where if you want to raise funds for a project, you want to build, you want to buy land, you do crowdfunding, you reach out to people and tell them you're trying to raise funds. Online then, this was in 2021, there were so many people that were raising funds online. Like there were lots of what they call buyback scheme, land banking, investment. Then there was the cooperatives were now brought in as a means to also still achieve the goal of raising funds. And I followed. I simply copied the template because I felt if it's working for them, it will work for me too. I saw this property in Ekpe, I want to buy it. Instead of me waiting or going to the bank and I don't have assets to serve as my collateral, why don't I use my integrity as a collateral to acquire investors to join me? And it worked. And it worked because, one, I have a good name. Two, a lot of investors were looking for places to keep their money into that was liquid. And I was offering a ridiculous return on investment because I saw other companies doing it 50% in a year, 40% in a year. It doesn't make any sense right now. But then I made the same mistake because I didn't acquire enough knowledge. So I want to celebrate everybody in this room because you are getting knowledge that should guide you into decision making. My goal then was to acquire land massively and rapidly. And because of that goal in mind, I felt with more cash, I can acquire faster. So I went online, went on Facebook, went on Instagram, designed flyers. You don't want to see those flyers. They were crudely designed by me on Canva. And the goal was to raise funds. Did I talk to an accountant? No. I didn't have a conversation with an accountant. I did not study the feasibility of my ability to repay those funds back. I just knew that I wanted to be competitive. Investors have options. If this real estate company is giving them 50%, I can't give less than that. If this company is giving 40%, I can't give less than that. And I missed out on the key fundamentals. You don't do investments because other people are doing it. You don't do any business because others are doing it. You do business because you have studied the model and you have walked through the scenarios and you know that even in the worst case scenario, you have capacity to deliver on what you are promising. Many companies go ahead to make promises that they don't have capacity to deliver on without good intention, with sincerity of heart, with honesty, with integrity, with their church mind, prayerfully thinking that they can use prayer to run a business. No. And many of us fall into that trap. So I just did copy, went ahead, and I was in like a week, I raised over 100 million naira. So now I've successfully raised this money, and I was thinking to myself, let's acquire. Thankfully, because of honesty and because of integrity, I tied every fund that came in. I tied it immediately into land, which is where some people make mistake. You raise investors' funds and you don't use that money to do what you promised you will use the money for. So the first thing is you need to have a calculation on what you are collecting the money for, what you will use it for, and what you are collecting the money for have capacity to pay back the money you just collected plus interest within the time frame. That analysis needs to be done, and many people don't do that analysis. So for me, I didn't do the analysis, and I've just been honest. I looked at my numbers. I had studied real estate investment before going into it, and I felt it will make sense. And so I went ahead and started raising funds in that format, only to realize that I had gone ahead, collected money, bought the land, but I did not have the machinery to sell at the volume I needed. So we were assets rich, and then the timeline for refund of money had come, and we were cash poor to refund the money. But at that point in time, when I'd already raised that fund, I knew that this could be a problem. And thankfully, I had mentors, which is something else that we don't emphasize. It's emphasized a lot now. Everybody's talking about their mentors. Mentorship is now heavily monetized. So you have your responsibility to put that money as an investment into gaining those mentors. Because for me, I think it was about a month after we had raised the money, I was still talking about I raised the money, and I got a call from my mentor, Dr. Olumide Emmanuel, who was talking about the fact that these returns you want to give, how do you intend to give it? And I gave him my calculations, my own personal calculations. He went through it and felt I should stop raising the funds. And we designed a different strategy to achieve the same goal. Here is the first, another lesson I want us to know is that when we know what the goal is, you need to explore all the different options. Sometimes we go for what is easy to achieve. We see it, people are already doing it, so you want to do the same thing. Currently, it is called land buyback. Many people are already doing it. It's a way to raise funds to achieve. They're called cooperative. It's a way for them to achieve raise funds. And we look at it, and it becomes like the template when it is not the only option. It's just the easiest option available. So I saw the comments that we're talking about development. Yes, the money this crowdfunding was used for development. Let me explain. The fund was raised, and that money that was raised was used for development. But if you raise money for development, it can become a crisis. It can become like you tying a heavy weight to your neck and jumping into the pool. And they are struggling to stay afloat when you have tied a heavy weight to your neck. What were the things I advise people to do now, based on my experience? You should have an accountant and a finance consultant. They are two different people. An accountant understands your book, how your money comes in, how your money is going out. That accountant understands it, understands macroeconomics, understands the things that they are already forecasting that these things might happen. Election is coming up. Based on elections, investment model will change. Policies might change with new administration. All of those things, your accountant might not think of it, but a finance consultant, a professional finance person, will not just take your personal experience, the way your accountant will look at your books, study your past 1 year. The finance person will draw models from previous people who have done it, from macroeconomics outlook, from the forecast that they have insight to that you don't, because guess what? I'm a real estate person. I'm not a finance, I'm not an accountant. I understand my business finance, but even at that, I don't understand it enough the way a consultant will. Thankfully, I had legal representative that was strong, and my legal representative made sure that every investor, every partner that joined us in the crowdfunding had these funds in exchange for them to get their capital and ROI. But in the case we are not able to give them that money, they will get a plot of land in a particular estate. That document provided us a level of cushion that this to this, if you don't get cash, you get land. If you don't get cash, you get land. Now, I know companies sue people personally. Their companies are folded up because they did not have that clause in their agreements. They didn't have a clause that made a provision for land. So the investors took them to EFCC, took them to police to say that you promised us ROI of 50% after 1 year, and you did not give us the ROI. Now, cough up the money for us. So those were the things I went through. Another thing that I learned from my experience was you don't start thinking of how you pay the money a month to when you pay the money. When you have raised funds, if there's any delay in your project, Your investors are now your stakeholders. The same way if you buy shares in a bank, there is annual general meeting, there is quarterly meeting, there are updates sent, reports generated. Everyone who has invested money with you, I've watched videos on social media where a real estate development company is saying that the money came in, cement became expensive. What do they want me to do? I'm not the government. I'm not the one that caused it. And I'm wondering, do you understand that you are responsible to these investors? So if you know you don't have the temperament to manage multiple people, don't collect money from crowd. Face a bank. Go through the process. They won't give you enough money, and that's the challenge. If your books are not structured enough, what the banks will be giving you will be very minimal. And I will go to how to access money from banks later if you're a developer. But if you cannot manage multiple people wanting to find out what is going on, if I made a deposit on a house and I paid you the money before you laid foundation, decking, oh, you are at this point, lintel, oh, you are at this point. If there is any challenge in your ability to complete the project within the agreed time frame, do not wait until your investors are calling you for feedback. You are meant to preempt them by saying, my expectation is that after 6 months, we should be at lintel level. But alas, we've had heavier rainfall in this season. Prices have jumped up, and so we are not at the level we are meant to be in. You inform them before they ask you. If you wait until they are asking you questions, you are already it's like you're minus. Your score is already minus. Your job is to update people. Now, if you have issues with communication, your temperament is very volatile, you get angry easily, don't collect people's money. Don't say their money is too small. I've heard comments where they say, you paid me just 10 million naira. Do you know how much I have? I raised 1 billion and I raised 5 billion naira because of your 10 million. You are now dragging me on social media. If you do not want to be dragged or insulted, do not go and collect their money. Because the moment you have collected money from someone, you have brought yourself to their level, even if they're market women and they're pepper sellers, it doesn't matter. You are now conversing with them as equals. So back to the conversation that I said I was going to mention, which I think is extremely important, on banking infrastructure. There are several opportunities within the banking sector where people can legitimately raise funds. So I feel that there are several opportunities where people can legitimately raise funds, but they are not adequately prepared. Your books are not ready. If you are a developer, you play in the real estate space, but you are still collecting investors' money, or you are people are paying for land into your personal account, it's not going to work. If you are dodging tax implication because you don't want to pay heavy tax, you are passing money and padding your books. You are also invariably making it look like your business doesn't have the liquidity to access loans. Your book needs to reflect the volume of transactions you have done. Oh, you've done transactions of this number of billions, but your book is showing 100 million because you don't want to pay NRS, which is the new FIRS. You don't want them to know how much you are making, then you don't want to access legitimate funds. So my people had advised me, that the more transactions you do through your account, your liability would increase. And so some people were of the opinion, take your money through different angles, register an enterprise. And I always ask this question, do you want a big business or you want a small business? Because if you want a big business, you need to be able to do what big businesses do. Dangote pays billions and billions in taxes. Don't begrudge the government for their demand of taxes. Rather, expand your business to handle the opportunities and the responsibility of being a big business. So when it comes to approaching banks, I've heard from personal experience as well, when you approach the bank, maybe you need this amount of money. Bank will offer you like 10% or even 5% of what you need. And that's because you don't have any credit rating. You've never borrowed money from the bank before. And so why would the bank give you money when they've never tested you with any form of investment in any form? What the bank will do is they will test you with something small. And they feel that if you have shown responsibility with this small money that we give you, then maybe we can then You paid back within a period of time. You collected 5 million, you paid back in time. Collected 10 million, paid back in time. Then they can give 50 million, you pay back in time. Then you get 100 million. What I see developers do is they still, because they have a proof of concept and they have a product, they are expecting the bank to just give them 500 million naira for someone who's never collected loan before. It can't work. You can't go from I've never collected loan before to get 1 billion naira. No. If you see people collecting that huge sum of money, it's because they have built a track record of collecting and paying back. And even though you might be able to try your luck with crowdfunding as a way to raise funds without having that track record where you have been tested beforehand, some of these investors, when they trust you with their investment the first time, maybe they partner with you to do your first building. If you have any drawback in delivery dates and timeline, they won't give you money next time, because it's a case of your every experience they have with you, every touch point proves to them that you are responsible, you are reliable, you are trustworthy. About 6 months into my repayment of investors that there was crisis. Because I was looking at what was going on, and I know the part of me that was the church girl, the faith one, the one that is praying and fasting, feels like God will not put me to shame, and so God will show up. But thankfully, I had conversations with mentors, and I got in a finance consultant who told me that if we study the past 6 months to predict your next 6 months, you will not pay this money. Something needs to change. Something needs to give for you to be able to sustain this payment. So what I did at that point in time was I sent a mail to all our investors. Sorry about the background noise. And I told them that we have a 6 months timeline to complete all your investors' payments. However, just in case something goes wrong, I provided them an alternative. We had a Zoom meeting. I explained the challenges and broke down what was happening. And based on that conversation, we were able to prepare their minds of an eventuality. Thankfully, the eventuality did not come to pass. We were able to make all payments and return on investment at the right time. But every one of them were carried along 6 months before. And it helped to butter that relationship ahead of time. Are there things I would have done better now? Yes, I would involve my accountant. I would involve my lawyers. My accountant then, we did not involve, but lawyers were involved. But I will have that conversation. I would already play out all the scenarios before it happens. Right now, would I still do crowdfunding? Yes, because the kind of money I want to do development, I can't get it officially from the bank now. What they will still give me will be a fraction of what I need, but I'm still collecting that fraction. And I'll tell you, collect the fraction from the bank. You might not like it because it feels like, how can you offer me this small money? I'm doing billions of naira turnover in your company and I want to collect loan. You're giving me 30 million, you're giving me 50 million naira. Collect it because it helps you build your credit system, and never become too proud of those who trusted you with their funds. I'll pause here and take questions.
Thank you so very much, TMO. Great one. Thank you so very much. Whilst we are discussing, a few thoughts came into my mind, and we're going to be having this talking points. And again, if anybody has 1 or 2 questions, please don't hesitate to raise your question in the chat box. Now, crowdfunding, when you talked about your ability to raise 100 million, I screamed. I was like, wow, that's impressive, right? I mean, your ability to raise that kind of money, when you raised, like, I think about 100 million when you mentioned. Now, the first talking point, or the first question I want to weigh in on, is the fact that crowdfunding is often presented as maybe an easy way to invest in real estate, right? I mean, not everybody has the ability to invest in real estate. So people usually believe that, okay, crowdfunding is one of the easiest way. Now, so if I may ask you, what do you consider as one of the biggest misconceptions about it, right? I mean, because easy entry, everybody wants to now, You talked about your ability, everybody see the TMO, our ability to raise 100 million at a particular point in time, right? There are certain things you've mentioned. You mentioned the issue of volatile attitude. You talked about communication. You talked about accountability, having mentorship and all that. We'll come back to that if time permits us. But the first talking point, or the first question I want you to weigh in is, what do you consider, I haven't played here, the biggest misconception in about this issue of crowdfunding?
Okay, misconception number one, people think crowdfunding is easy money. No, it's not. You are collecting money from people, the average person, and that somebody can give you 200,000 naira, and you can look at it that this 200,000 naira is nothing. How much is 200,000 naira? But that's that person's life savings. The person gathered 5,000 naira for months to get that 200,000 naira that you are enjoying. And so it is extremely important that we realize that when you think it is easy money, it is people's life savings. It is their entire world that you just collected. Another misconception is they think it is free money. It's not.
We're losing for a bit.
Some people
okay, good.
Yes. And used to pay house rents, raised salary, borrowed money to do such office. Can you hear me?
Yes, people I can hear you now. We missed you for a bit, but I can hear you now.
Okay, I think some people think crowdfund is free money. They borrowed money and raised crowdfund and used it to buy a car, to pay for rent, to do furnishing of their office so that their office looks standard. When you raise money to do a house or to build a house, every kobo from that money must go into the project that you have put on ground. Never take money from your investment to say you are paying for vacation, you are paying for school fees. It is still a loan. Crowdfunding is still a loan. You are owing money. That money is a loan and there's interest to be paid and there's a timeline to that payment. And unlike banks, with banks, you can actually renegotiate your loan. You can go to the bank and ask them, oh, please, this is what is happening. The pepper seller, the market woman, that business owner who has put in their life savings into your investment scheme, they don't want you to renegotiate. They have plans. Some people have planned when they give you that money, they have said in their mind, they felt 1 year from now, when I collect my interest, I can pay my rent. So when you don't pay that interest, they cannot pay their rent. So misconception is the fact that this is free money. I am not as liable. There must be timeline, and you must be sure you can meet up with that timeline. And you have to always communicate. There was something else I saw on among the questions, and I think that somebody was saying, how do you raise the crowd fund? You cannot raise funds if you don't have relationships. When I said we raised the 100 million, that was what we raised within a week. It's not the entire money we raised. But I could raise that money because I had relationship. And this was in 2023, 2022. I had relationships. I had equity in people's hearts, in people's mind. I had trust. I had a relationship with people that they feel, and I still have, people still come and meet me till tomorrow. TMO, I have this money. What should I do with it? If you have not built that brand equity to the level that they can trust you, some of you, nobody can trust you with 100,000 naira. Your friends that have borrowed you 10,000 naira, you did not refund them. So why do you think that you will now come out and it will not get out that you are not a person of integrity? You can't raise funds if you don't have integrity. People do it, though. Scammers do it successfully, but you know that they are proper scammers. That's their job. They whitewash their image. They are able to steal money. They lie. There's a current investment somebody I know wants to do. I'm not lying. This person, they are going to pay a return of 120% in a year. They called it an agric investment. Is it Drew Dam? Let me not even mention the name of the company. It's a cooperative. They say they do agric investment and that they will pay 10% per month. 10% per month. And that at the end of 1 year, she will get 120%. And I thought, I said, and you want to put your money there. Don't you all already know that this is scam? This is scam this is like red flag. This is not even, I don't know what else to call it. This is obviously a scam. What business can somebody do to give you 10% per month and sustain it for 1 year? Purely scam. People who put not for greedy people. It is for, I have worked with friends that are trying to raise funds and help them to define a business model where they are able to market, because you need to design a product. I want to raise these funds. This is what I want to use it for. This is the interest I'll pay in. Investors who put
okay, good.
Their money into it. This is how crowdfunding to people. That is how you get chance you think are ridiculous. You won't raise funds.
Okay. All right.
Timmy, I saw Timmy's question. Let me just talk about Timmy's question.
Okay, we'll take the questions. We'll take the questions shortly. Let's take this other talking point, then we'll now come back to those questions on the chat box. Okay. Now, one more talking point from this angle before we now go into those questions. We're going to go back to them shortly. I know as we begin to wind up. Okay. Now, you've talked about the misconceptions, very good ones. And so now from your experience also in the market, because what we're doing today is lessons from the market. Now, from your experience, now, I think you mentioned a few things earlier on in your presentation while you're discussing about it. Now, from your experience, I will say, what do you think separates a successful crowdfunding project from those ones that fail? In passing, you mentioned some crowdfunding that failed, right? So if you're going to, like I said, you mentioned a few things. If you're going to place hands on it, as somebody who has been there in the market, what will you say separates a successful crowdfunding project from the ones that do not succeed or the ones that failed? Then after this, we'll now go to the questions on the platform and begin to wind down.
If I'm being honest, Nigeria is a place where you can do everything right and still get the wrong answer. You know, it's a place where you can do everything. Like you did all the right things and you still ended up in crisis. The common story of the Coastal Way, where people bought land that has governor's consent, approved layout, and they built, and every building was approved, and suddenly their houses were still demolished because of their realignment. So Nigeria is a place where you can do everything right and still get it wrong. So there's a place of maybe not be unfortunate, and you pray that God will just favor you, that all your calculation works out well. I need to first put that out there, because there's also that element of life just happened. But that being said, there is integrity with the funds you have been given. And when I mean integrity, I mean 0.01 of the funds you have received must not go into your private pocket or anything outside the project you've gotten. It doesn't mean that the project would work well. I raised funds to buy a land in Benin. That full estate is still there beneath it today. Under my custody, not one plot sold. 100% everything was good. We just did not calculate well. So I look at it but I've paid the investors back. So you can do every money that came in for that project went there. We cleared, we did short spends to take possession, and we just couldn't generate enough. I even got a paid staff salary for like 6 months. The guy could not do anything. He couldn't drive sale. It was just complaints. I had to sack him. And I was like, I'll come back to this Benin project later. Let me focus on other things that are already working to raise funds to pay the loan that I used to buy the Benin land. So you can do it right, but you must be on top of your game. You must be monitoring the numbers every day. You can't say, oh, account did not give me reports. I did not check the reports. I did not know things were this bad. You are the CEO of the company. If you raise funds, you must know how much is coming in, how much is going out. You must know if it is working, if it is not working. And when it is not working, quickly get intervention in time. But like I said, first, don't take your money out of that transaction, not 1 naira. Number 2 is, I see a mistake people make in raising funds. They throw it open to realtors. They raise funds at, let's say, 40% return on investment. They pay realtors 5%. So that means they pay realtors out of the capital. Let me give you a model that one of my mentors used. What they did was their commission on raising on their crowdfunding was 2.5%. Even now, they dropped it to 2%. And they don't pay you from the capital because any money that they raise goes into the project they have earmarked. When they sell the project and they are paying returns on investment to their investors, they pay the 2% to the commission at the end, not in the beginning, so that you can preserve that capital as a whole. Another mistake from personal experience is you raise funds when you don't have a project you want to do. Like the project is not on ground. I'll tell you a story. Somebody shared this with me just about, it's less than a month ago. Actually, 2 weeks ago. The person was telling me that they raised funds, and at the time when the fund was due, like they raised funds, it was supposed to be a short-term loan. They wanted to sandfill. They had this land in a good place, allocation. They wanted to sandfill and fence so that they can sell for good value. So they did crowdfunding to do the fencing. The sandfilling that was supposed to take place within 6 months, 8 months after, some of the capital that they raised was still in their account. They couldn't deploy the money as soon as the money came in. Essentially, it means you collected money and you kept it in your bank for 8 months. And this is money you are going to pay interest on. That is a crisis. If you are collecting money to build a project, that entire money, go and pay for the cement, pay for the sand, pay to quarry, take the money out of your account, because money sitting in your account is not giving you any interest. Send the money to work. I'll finish with this one that I think might help people that are wondering what else could go wrong. What else could go wrong is corruption within your system. We live in Nigeria. Our workers are Nigerians. They are not angels. They are not angels. So what that means is, thank you. What that means is that your workers can become the weapon fashioned against you. And many of us business owners, especially these trusting business owners that we pray, we just believe that our God is good, human beings are nice. We are not as finicky to check the corruption within our system. And you have borrowed money and you are paying returns and your staff are stealing the money from you. You can't blame anybody. Thank you.
Thank you very much, TMO. So let's go to the questions. I mean, as we begin to wind down now, we're going to take, I see there are quite a lot of questions here. So one of the questions is, someone is asking here, what do you consider, I think you mentioned it also in passing, but again, if you can weigh in on it, what do you consider an average length of time to promise a refund, capital, and profit? I mean, based on your experience in the market, what would you consider an average length of time?
I have done 1 year before. I have done 18 months. I have done 2 years. I've even done where I promised that I will pay you returns. I did one when I promised that I will pay people their ROI every year, but they'll get their capital after 5 years. Let me tell you, that conversation would only happen between you and your finance person, because all this permutation, you can do everything and it does not work. What is your project? What is the revenue drive that you have on your project? What is the timeline you feel it would require you to complete the project? That is what you must have in mind. Then add extra months. So if you feel your project to be done within 6 months, give yourself another 6 months to pay return on investment. If you feel your project to be done in 1 year, give yourself another 6 months to do the refund. And you need to also study your templates. If you are if you have not done any business of 500 million naira and you raised funds of 500 million naira, don't expect that you will just jump. You need to be realistic in your calculations. And I'm a very, very optimistic person. I always believe the best. I'm always praying that, like, God can do, we are faith people, miracles. It can give you 10 years in one, So because of that, we sometimes are unrealistic in what we confess and in what we calculate. So what I'm going to say is it has to be project-based. If it is for a building, you cannot promise to pay return on investment until the house is finished. Actually, if you are raising money to build a project or to build a house, I'll tell you, let your investors know this is for housing. This is when I'm going to pay you back. This is when I finish paying for the house. And then you update them all through. So they are not just dropping money and going to sleep thinking 18 months time I collect my ROI. No, make them your business partners. Integrate them as such and carry them along so that they feel they are part of your story. Have I had reasons where I had to delay investors? By 1 month, there were some investors that their funds were huge. The smaller investors I paid back. The ones that it was huge, I called them and explained, this is what is happening. And they gave me that 1 month leeway, and I raised the funds within that period of time. So I would say it is project by project basis, but do not real estate the long-term investment. Don't take short-term loan for a long-term investment.
All right, good one. So we have quite a lot of questions here, and I'm going to try and see. For those, if you can't take your question, please, you forgive us because our timing is. There's a valid. Somebody raised a question here. Shola raised a question, and a valid question. Said, my question is, who are the bodies or institutions regulating the crowdfunding investment that gives an investor a level of confidence like that of Nigerian Stock Exchange, and why is crowdfunding not on Nigerian Stock Exchange so that it gives some level of confidence to investors and increase investment opportunities to the general public or private equity? Did you get that question, TMO?
100%. There are some level of crowdfunding under institutions regulated by stock exchange. So actually what I did 2021, 2022, 2023, I can't do it anymore right now. I cannot go online and post flyer promising returns on investment because as at that time, regulation was not, I don't even think there was a clear regulation. It was when the issues of several companies defaulting that regulation now became strict. Between 2023, it became very, very, under the new administration, this current administration, that was when SEC became like, you cannot do crowdfunding. So right now, hello, I am sharing story of what happened in 2021, 2022, 2023. Don't go and say TMO said go and post flyer. If you post flyer and they call you for questioning, I am not with you there. Because right now, it is being heavily regulated. But people found, Nigerians, they always find a way. So now they've done through cooperative. They use cooperative as a way to do their fundraising. Some set up actually investment companies, some real estate company. I know that Xylos has an investment company. BRG, they have a cooperative. Many people, Arcview has cooperative, Pertinence has cooperative. Many real estate companies now have cooperative. Cooperative is an easy way to bring people in as crowdfunding. It's a way that is regulated and can protect them because you are all members of the cooperative. So yes, SEC is regulating them, and there are ways to raise funds through SEC. Like there are companies that you can go and meet under SEC that they will do what they call white paper. That's crowdfunding. White paper is crowdfunding. They raise this paper and all of you put your money into it and they give it to the person, but it's regulated. So you can try that as well.
Absolutely, absolutely. Thank you so much, TMO. I mean, some few questions here also. The questions are just really in, but we're just going to try and let's see if we can take 2, 3, and then we just put it to wrap. Someone is asking, Ayokuli is asking, it says, I mean, Nigeria has no shortage of investors, yet many crowdfunding platforms struggle to scale. What is the missing link? As somebody who had been in this market for a while, what do you consider the missing link? I mean, you also said it, the investors are there.
I don't agree with him.
Okay.
I think that in crowdfunding, if regulated, you raise the fund. If your proof of concept is solid, Nobody would put money into what they don't understand.
Right.
Your proof of concept needs to be solid. So you need to think through the idea. The idea can be sweet in your heart, make sense among your family and your friends that will be lying to you. But when you bring that idea into public space, nobody is going to fund an idea that does not make sense. So you need to be sure that your business idea is viable. Crowdfunding worked. I used to invest with an investment community, smart stewards, as far back as 2017, 2018, 2019. And we were raising funds to put into different projects. And we're getting our capital back until we did a Greek investment in 2020. And the thing did not come out early. And it took 2-3 years before we could get our money back. So people became scared. So trust has been eroded heavily within the market space. So why would your business is a business of trust. If you're raising funds, how well are you trusted? If you're not trusted, nobody would invest in you. So if anybody is complaining about raising funds, check the trust factor. There are platforms I don't know the CEO. I put my funds into Cowrywise. There's Bamboo. There are many investment platforms that we are putting our money into. We don't know the CEO, but the system already comes across as regulated and trustworthy. So we put our monies there. So check your own system to be sure why you're not getting funds.
Thank you very much, TMO. Very good. That's a very good one. A very good one. Let's take additional questions. I mean, I know we're pressed for time. Okay, so this one is asking, somebody is asking anonymously, is saying that, I mean, I think you've answered it, but why do you think many Nigerians still hesitate when they hear the word crowdfunding? Why do you think Nigerians hesitate?
Trust. That's the answer. Trust.
Yes.
We will hesitate because I'm not investing in your business. I'm investing in you. So if I cannot trust you or I don't know you enough to trust you, I will pull back. So your trust factor and the quality of relationship and brand equity you have. There are people that have huge brand equity outside, but I know they're not people of integrity inside based on personal relationship with them, but they have good brand equity. So that's also there. Then when you know that you don't have that popularity, maybe you would partner with influencers and celebrities as a way to rub shoulders and borrow some of their fan base to follow you on your journey.
All right, let me see if I can take 2 more questions. Olawi is asking, what is the best to offer crowdfunders, returns or assets? Secondly, you mentioned cooperative societies as a tool for crowdfunding. Please
so I'll answer the two.
Okay.
I'll answer the two together. So one, I already answered. I said investors don't want assets, they want their money. But a safety net for you, just in case life happens, is to put an asset to back them. So they want their money. I don't want land. I saw land before putting my money into your investment. So don't give me land. Give me my money. So I want you to know that is ROI you are getting. Backup is land. Then the second question, sorry.
Okay, I was asking about, sorry, 1 minute, let me look at it again. Let me go back. The second question was asking, has to do with, you mentioned cooperative society as a tool of crowdfunding. Please shed more light. Is it real estate focused cooperative? Those cooperatives, are they real estate focused?
So the estate, you can open a cooperative and call it a real estate cooperative. You can open it and call it friends and family cooperative. You know, cooperative is just that a few of us that together pull our funds to do something. So cooperative allows you to do anything within the regulation. Cooperative is all of us, we just cooperate, put our money and put it into real estate. Tomorrow we can cooperative ourselves, put the money into fashion. We can cooperative ourselves, put the money into traveling. Anything. Cooperative allows you to do it.
Okay, I know this. You need to run, right? So please just, you need to run. Just give us time. Let me. I mean, there are a lot of questions here, but please, everyone, please just forgive. I know if I don't take this one question from this person, I see he sent the question twice. He said,
okay.
Thank you for sharing your experience with us, ma'am. For someone who wants to begin in real estate, what roadmap can you propose for him to start? I mean, let's take that and other question we can answer much more later.
If you want to start your real estate journey, so I started my real estate journey with a training from Dr. Olumide Emmanuel. I bought, it was a CD. It wasn't even a physical one. I just bought the CDs and I watched them. And it gave me a major leap in terms of my knowledge base. I understood challenges in the industry from someone who has been in the industry for over 20 years. So that moment, so invest into knowledge, get into a community of people who are playing in the field. You need to get into a community of those playing in the field. Please close the door. Please close the door. There's noise. So get into a community of people that are playing in the field. Because see something, you can go to school, write the exam, pass, and when you go outside to practice, it will be like you did not even attend school. That's the way the industry is. So there is the power of mentorship and community. There are two different things. You can have a mentor, you paid to be in the mentorship, and you don't maximize that community. You need to be in a community of fellow developers, and there are several out there. Get into the training, get into the development, and connect with them. That is the way to grow. I bought my first land after having meetings with like 10 developers. Every time I meet with them, I ask them, Oga, how do we buy land in Ekpe? Oga, how do we buy land in Ekpe? I asked over and over again. It was by the time I was talking to the 12th person that the person gave me an agent. And that agent, oh gosh, sorry. That agent was the one that was able to get me my first estate. But like I said, I spoke to plenty people having meetings. Some will say, no, don't worry, this industry is somehow as bad as the industry, but people are still entering today and making profit. So yes, welcome, join us. There's money to be made, but get training, get training, get training. You can see the person you're in the meeting with. That is how you do it. Continue being in that community, continue consulting. Don't go empty-handed when you're going to meet your mentors because you want to leverage them. So take something, show them you honor them, and they will open up and give you lots of advice that you can expect. Thank you so much.
Thank you so very much, TMO. I know we've taken your time, and I know the children are trying to grab their mom and want to just have a do. So we've got a lot of comments here. People are saying thank you. I mean, other questions, please. For other questions, you can revert back to us in Ubosele and Co. Yeah. We'll do all that we can to ensure that we. Somebody mentioned here, like you also said, the trust for him is when you talk about crowdfunding, is basically trust. And you actually mentioned that, I mean, very well in your presentation. You say, my take, integrity is key to crowdfunding. That's Murphy Don Julio said that, integrity. And you mentioned that when you started very well. And we have people saying, Olution say, thank you, Bosele and Co. Yes, thank you, TMO. We have a lot of comments of thank you and thank you from here. Once again, we want to thank you. So it's been a wonderful, wonderful time and a wonderful moment to share together in the real estate together. So as we bring today's webinar to a close, I would like to sincerely thank our guest speaker, Mrs. Tokomako Dige, for sharing her knowledge and practical experience with us. Thank you for helping us better understand the opportunities, realities, the futures, and crowdfunding in real estate. And to everyone who joined us, thank you for your participation and thoughtful questions. We hope that today's session provided practical insights for you, and we're sure that you always, join again when we call for other seminar or other webinar. Please continue to follow Ubosele and Co. and the Real Estate Today webinar series for future discussions and issues shaping the real estate industry. On behalf of Ubosele and Co., I want to say thank you and have a productive day. TMO, thank you so very much. Thank you so very much. And have a beautiful day. We are glad that you did this with us. And thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule to do this with us. Thank you and God bless. So on this note, we want to say thank you, everyone. And the webinar is brought to a close. God bless you. Enjoy the rest of your day. Wonderful day. Bye.